For any common person, electrons are practically invisible. As far as the microphone of Akashvani is concerned, so are people who are connected with nuclear physics. And that's why it gives us a lot of pleasure to welcome Professor Avinash Chandra Pandey, Director, Inter-University Accelerator Center, Delhi, to our studios.
Thank you very much.
Let's begin with a very, very rudimentary question. Once upon a time, there used to be a term called Nuclear Science Center, which was commonly known. Now, all you hear is Inter-University Accelerator Center. The two most intriguing words in this term are university and accelerator. Now, the word university gives us an idea that it's a place where students come to study something. Accelerator is something that we will know in due course of time. But why did this change happen when you already had a simple name called Nuclear Science Center?
So when we started this center in 1984, the focus was that we will have capacity building in the area of nuclear sciences only. Reason being that you can pursue nuclear sciences with the help of accelerators. You can have highly energetic particles which can be accelerated to a very high energy so that they can go inside the nucleus and get some information about the nucleus.
Is that the only way to study nuclear science, using an accelerator?
Yes.
Or there are other ways also? Okay.
If you wish to go inside the nucleus, if you wish to know what is the subatomic or the structure of the nucleus, how a particular nucleus behaves in terms of its decay or it reacts, you need to know using these accelerators. So when we started pursuing nuclear sciences in the country, especially experimental nuclear physics, we set up this center named as Nuclear Science Center. This was one reason. The second reason was that under Department of Atomic Energy, similar kind of facilities were there with the PARC. But for a common student coming from a university, the long process of getting checked, the ordeals of passing through those tests and also following the security threats, it was decided that we should bring this particular center outside Department of Atomic Energy under Ministry of Education. Earlier it was MHRD. So this objective in mind. But when we started pursuing the accelerator-based research, we found that it is not only nuclear physics where accelerators are used. It is material science, it is atomic physics, it is molecular physics, it is radiation biology, where we study how energetic ions interact with the biological material. And if suppose we go for in the space, manned space missions, we need to know more. What will be the effect of radiation on human body? And after staying at those space stations, having that kind of radiation environment, if we come back, what will be the courses of mitigation of the changes or damages which has happened? So that is another area in which we used to pursue or used to use accelerators. The other area, all the satellites which are sent to space, they are subjected to cosmic ray bombardment. So the electronics in form of camera, in form of sensors, they get bad over a period of time. So those electronics are brought here at our center and they are tested against radiation. Then if the electronics test to be potent, then they are sent to space as a part of or the payload.
Okay.
So that is one national program in which we are participating. Now we have started addressing the issue of chronology with the help of radiocarbon dating. So you know how to estimate the age of a fossil. Likewise, there are
even in archaeology,
even in geology, even in nowadays we are using it variety of ways. So there are many cosmogenic radionuclides which are present in the nature, and they are actually observing you that what is happening. So we say that this nature is static, does not have consciousness. So but if you look at that part, everything is recorded there. So another dimension which has been added to this accelerator facility is geochronology facility. These are the science-based questions which were actually started getting addressed with this center. The other question was, after this 1998, when we had this Pokhran, so people internationally, they did not take it in a good taste. The tests which were conducted at Pokhran by India, so many sanctions were imposed. And it was very likely that we will also suffer through those sanctions in terms of some imports. So that was a kind of blessing in disguise. We started working on our own to develop many of the things in-house as Atmanirbhar Bharat, and also not inviting those people because we were in the capacity building area, we were training the students, we were not actually directly involved into nuclear power. So to make the life easier, the name was changed from Nuclear Science Center to IUAC. This is the way we have to live, and we have to make ourselves self-reliant.
A natural question that comes to mind after all this, you mentioned so many subjects where applications are there. So does it mean the courses that are there at IUAC, they all pertain to all these branches where students...
Yes. For example, all the students, they need not get enrolled at our place. They are pursuing their research degree at their respective universities. If they require accelerators in their research pursuit, they come to us, they defend their proposal, and once their proposal is accepted, we fund everything. Like if you are pursuing research in nuclear physics, it is better that you have good background in nuclear physics. MSc nuclear sciences is required. But in other areas, like in material science, in geochronology related project, you can have any master's degree. For example, chemistry people also come, biology people, they also come. Simple physics without having specialization in nuclear physics, they also join. Here you get trained how to use accelerator to get your objectives fulfilled.
For different applications.
See, Light Hadron Collider, which is there in Geneva, it has got much higher energy. So it is called collider because from two different sides, the energetic particles come together and they collide with each other. In our case, the energy is only limited to mega electron volt, and it is limited that the particle is accelerated at one end and there is a static stationary target on which it gets bombarded. So this is the basic difference. The energy difference is there, and the moment you change the energy or you go from mega electron volt to giga electron volt, the physics also changes. There you enter into subatomic particle. You try to understand what is the composition of electron, proton, right, neutron, how they are composed of. In our case, we can only enter into the nucleus and know what will be the super heavy element, how this fusion takes place, how this target, the nucleus breaks into different reaction channels, which one will be the most probable outcome of a reaction. So these are the things which we pursue, and that is because that it is called nuclear physics, that is called particle physics.
Maybe at a senior level, have people actually, or even at the junior level, is it now possible to, physically watch subatomic activity happening? Or it's just a matrix of signals and there you, based on conjectures, that, okay, this particle has attacked that particle. How does it happen?
See, earlier when we started pursuing, in the older days, we had photographic films. On photographic plates, you can record the trajectory of different particles. So you can see that under the influence of magnetic field, electric field, if a particular particle comes and it traces on the projectile in a particular direction, you can always infer based on the laws of physics that which particle is, what is its electric charge, what is its mass, right? Now we have got detectors, and these detectors are specifically designed to look at whether it is gamma rays coming out of that or neutron is coming out of that, right? How many neutrons, and the energy dispersion, the momentum, what it is carrying, all these things can be, and where it was created, where it has hit on the detector. So position sensitivity is also there. So it is not only having some kind of cartoon that this picture is relating to some kind of, no. You can actually visualize what is happening, what is actually being produced, and how many of them are being recorded. Signals may be weak, so for that you can go for photomultiplier tubes, variety of ways by which we can get those signals captured, and we analyze and we come to the conclusion that this is what we have.
Professor Pandey, in a lighter vein, of course, are your students more into research on electrons and protons, or there are some who want to study neutrons as well?
See, in our case, we have got three different facilities, three beam lines. One is exclusively for neutron, about 100 detectors that are capable of detecting neutrons. The other one is INGA, that is Indian National Gamma Array, which looks at gamma. We have got another facility which is named as HERA and HIRA, Hybrid Reaction Analyzer and Heavy Ion Reaction Analyzer. So they look at different kind of reaction products. So if an atom is bombarded or nuclei is bombarded and it gets split. So splitting, why this particular split is taken place? Why this output, the product or the daughter nuclei stays longer or it again decays into some other nuclei? This is the question which our students answer while studying the experimental results.
This gives us an opportunity to address a long-standing question in the common mind. It's all about, fission versus fusion. Where are we as a country as far as either research or application is concerned in the larger global picture?
See, fission is easy to carry out because when you bombard a bigger nuclei, it breaks into different pieces, most likely equal in size, and it releases energy. But on the other hand, to fuse two nuclei together is difficult because it requires a lot of energy to bring two nuclei together so that they can coalesce together.
Otherwise, they'll repel?
They will repel because there is a Coulombic repulsion. So you cannot bring, because see, the nucleus is there, nucleus is positively charged. So if you bring two nucleus which are having positive charge, they will repel, and that much
just
of
like
energy,
a magnet.
Just like magnet. Poles if you bring, they will repel. So that much of energy is required so that they can come closer and then they form a single nuclei. So that is the phenomena which is observed in fusion. But whereas in case of fission, it is important to only bombard that and then it breaks and then it releases energy.
So all our nuclear power stations, do they work on the principle of fission?
Yes, the reactors, primarily they are based on nuclear fission, but we are also moving towards this fusion reactors, and international experiment is going on, that is ITER project. In the Latin it is named as the way. It is a kind of artificial sun which is going to get fabricated soon with the help of many countries, and that will be based on fusion energy, in which smaller nuclei, they will be brought together, fused together, and they will release energy which will be much more cleaner as compared to fission, because in fission the fission products are radioactive isotopes and it is very difficult to manage the waste which comes out of fission, whereas in this case it is not the case.
Professor Pandey, let's now come to India's energy mix. Any common person would understand that in the entire bouquet, nuclear power has its own relevance and importance. But one finds it difficult to understand if fusion both needs so much of energy in the first place. Are we not again disturbing the balance?
No, in terms of this nuclear energy, this nuclear energy is cleanest form of energy. It is having high energy density. High energy density means in a very small area you can produce a large amount of electricity because it is a small reaction which is taking place under one reactor. So in case of India, we have, it is fifth largest contributor to electricity. Only 2% of the contribution comes from nuclear energy in our country, which is about 6.8 giga electron volt, 6.8 gigawatt is generated by 22 power reactors at 7 power plants. Right? So we have to scale it up because it is reliable. Why it is reliable? But it does not depend on sun or wind or anything else. The other important thing is that it is, I said it is high density. And the third important thing is that operational cost is also very less. 30%, 50% less than compared to coal or gas-based power plants.
And safety-wise?
Safety-wise, we have learned a lot and we know that how we can make our plants safer.
Professor Pandey, let's come down to the grassroots level, everyday life, where all has nuclear energy percolated, say in homes or things that are connected with your day-to-day activities. We may not see it, but are we...
No. We can definitely see if you visit any of the cancer hospitals. You will find a large number of people, more than a simple OPD in cancer hospitals. Now the cancer is spreading like anything. And WHO has also predicted that in coming years, the next decade will be dominated by cancer. So why cancer is being like this nuclear energy is important, that we have got both of things. Diagnostics as well as therapy is all based on radioisotopes. We have heard about PET, CT, positron, emission tomography, computed tomography. So by that technology, you ascertain where the tumor is sitting in the body, number one. Number two, if you wish to treat that tumor, you have to use radioisotope that generates locally heat at that point, and then it kills those cancer cells. And if I say now, we will be requiring 10,000 PET CT to cater to the requirement of our Indian population, which is still far short as compared to available PET CT. Likewise, brachytherapy, the short-lived radioisotopes. That means the half-life of that radioisotope shall be only 10 or 12 days. You cannot import it from outside because by the time it comes,
It'll decay.
half of the money which you have paid is gone, waste. So you have to produce it locally, and many of the types of cancers, be it cervical, be it breast cancer, be it prostate. Prostate is going to be increased in coming days for men. So if you seed these radioisotopes at those places where the cancer is there, tumor is diagnosed, that kills those cancer cells and become inert. You are not supposed to take it out. That is called brachytherapy. So this is one way it is actually being utilized by the common man without knowing that this is actually nuclear energy. The second important thing is the food safety. You can irradiate the food, and the food, whatever germs, pathogens are there, they get destroyed and the shelf life increases. You also control the pests because if you use insecticides comes to your food web. You also ingest similar amount of insecticide which has been used for killing those pests. So you can make the male population of those pests sterile, engage these wild varieties of females while mating so that the population is controlled. This is one aspect, and then the first generation, second generation, the population will go down.
But then bombarding food items with radioactive materials.
Not radioactive, gamma radiation, which has only passes through that, and it changes the RNA, DNA of the pathogens which are there, and that gets denatured so that it's...
and then nothing stays there.
Nothing stays. Nothing stays.
Okay.
So the food items, and then all the medical appliances. If you go for surgery, the surgical appliances, they are all irradiated by these gamma radiation. Likewise, the cable which supplies electricity to your household. If you irradiate the cables, the polymers, that encasing which is there, that is insulator, it is all like made of polymer. So because of cross-linking, the heat resistance and also the current carrying capacity does not harm you, and there is a less chance of catching it fire. Okay. So in forensic sciences, you can identify the traces. Even a small fraction of some amount is there, paint or something, you can identify that who committed this crime. That is another way by which you can do it. So criminal investigations, be it agriculture, be it your, and very simple example, all these smoke detectors, they have alpha particle sources inside it without affecting you. It does the job. It alarms you whenever there is a smoke. It disrupts the circuit and then you get an alarm. So there are varieties of way by which you get. Then in space exploration, so you send the vehicles. You cannot send fueled by coal or something like. I told that this is having high energy density. Small amount of nuclear fuel will propel that particular object to farthest planet, to Mars, to even to Pluto. If you wish to go there, you need only small quantity of nuclear fuel, which will make you land at those places, right? So these are some of the things in which there is no alternative available other than nuclear energy.
That was a very illuminating discussion, Professor Pandey. See, not everyone who's listening to us is an MSc in either physics or nuclear physics. But to any student, to anyone who is doing graduation in pure sciences, I want you to, tell them what all scope they have if they decide to pursue this area of research in the days to come.
I find a very bright future for nuclear energy because I told that only 2% of electricity is being produced by nuclear energy by way of compulsion due to climate change. The only clean energy which we have is nuclear energy. So if suppose we are going to scale it up by 10 times more. So we will have a small modular reactors. They'll be a kind of like captive power for high energy requirement industry. Say for example, steel plant, fertilizer. They'll be asked to have their own small reactors. right? The direct employment is you will get 30%, 40% more salary as compared to, because that requires more intellect. And also the second important thing is indirect employment. And the third thing is induced. Induced means the same reactor can be utilized for variety of purposes for which I have just explained. Indirect means the people who will be fuel fabricators. You have to mine from somewhere, reservoir of thorium. We have got also some amount of uranium. So these fuel fabricators, they will be required. The people who will be used for fabricating, for building these reactors, from civil, for mechanical, from other
Electrical.
they will also be required, because you have to build them, we have to maintain them, we have to. So that gives a kind of employment scenario when we are going to scale it up from 2% to 10%. That is terawatt power. 30,000 terawatt power shall be generated. Reason being that if I compare it by the requirement of HDI, the Human Development Index, we require 2,400 oil equivalent, kilogram oil equivalent consumption per capita per year. This much is required. And we are far below that. So to bridge that gap, the only recourse is available with the nuclear energy. So a lot of employment opportunity will be there, provided we are not scared. We follow all those safety rules. We also run Accelerator and we have got all those protocols. We follow it religiously. There is no such happening. So that is all. And other important thing, because I come from Accelerator, I'll talk about Accelerator. In coming days, we can have accelerator-driven systems in which the job of producing neutrons shall be given to Accelerator. The moment you consider that now this reactor is going to get meltdown, you stop the accelerator, stop production of neutron. So that will be a kind of safest way of producing energy using fission reaction. In coming days, if suppose we get success ITER, that will be another course of action in which nuclear fusion will be required. So immense opportunities are there, provided you have to take at this age.
Professor Avinash Chandra Pandey, it was truly illuminating to know a lot about a subject that always came across as mysterious. Thank you very much for sparing time for the listeners of Akashvani. Thank you very much for coming to the studio.
Thank you very much.